We'll get started in just a moment. Thank you so much for joining us today. Wow, we have folks from all over joining. California, Brazil, Virginia. Very exciting. Thank you guys for making it. We're just going to give it a minute or so to get some other folks to join. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining the International Wildlife Coexistence Network's Our Shared Earth webinar series. Kindly note that this webinar is being recorded and it is going to be shared with you after the presentation, so you will have access to this. My name is Jessica Colmaney, and I'm the Director of Outreach and Engagement at IWCN. And today we're going to connect you to incredible leaders across the globe who are helping their communities coexist with small wild cats. Often small cats are overlooked or maybe outshined by their larger feline friends, but they do play an important role in our ecosystem. And today we will learn more about efforts underway to protect their kind. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We're really excited to share with you information and wonderful projects of coexistence that we have underway here. A little bit about us at IWCN, if you're not familiarized with us. We are a nonprofit and we connect communities around the world experiencing wildlife conflict with experts who are working towards peaceful coexistence solutions. And we are a very small team, but we're a mighty team. And I'd like to do some quick introductions to who we are. IWCN's executive director and founder is Suzanne Aisha Stone. We have Allison Miller here with us today. She's our operations and special projects manager. We have Josh Adler. He is our director of communications, and he is helping out in the chat today to answer any questions that you may have. And Sharon Boland is our administrative and business manager. We could not operate without her. And we also have Dallas Gudgel. He is our policy and tribal outreach coordinator. So again, we have a very small team, but a mighty team. And we are so excited about this opportunity to connect with you all today. So we have the unique opportunity to connect with these guest speakers who are implementing boots on the ground experience with wild small cat coexistence strategies. You're going to hear today from folks from the Ocelot Working Group, the Geoffroy's Cat Working Group, and the Costa Rica Wildlife Foundation. As we hear from our speakers, please feel free to provide your questions in the Q&A. Our speakers will be available towards the end of the session after all presentations to answer any questions you may have. So we want to make this very interactive. We're so excited that you're excited about wildlife and small cats. So we want to give you the opportunity to be able to ask questions to these incredible speakers and leaders in coexistence. One of our speakers, Badru from the Mbaka Saving the Golden African Cat, he unfortunately could not join us today, but we will be including his incredible work about how communities are working to coexist with this rare species in our follow-up communication with you. So thank you so much, Badru, for your presentation. We will be sharing that out with everyone so they do get to see that and learn more about all of your incredible efforts with the African golden cat. And also, I just want to take note that this webinar shares a very special cause that is close to our hearts. Fund raised from the registration and additional donations will go towards the delivery of wildcat coexistence booklets to 1,000 school children in Mexico. Right now, we are at about 70% of our goal with around $300 left to raise. If you are interested, in supporting this incredible effort, you can visit our donation link within the chat. And you're more than welcome to contribute if you want to help bring this project to fruition, but we're so excited. And you're going to learn more about it as well. It's an incredible initiative led by two extraordinary women. And with that, I'd like to introduce Mariam Weston. She is our coordinator of the Ocelot Working Group, and Isabel Serrano. She is our conservation and rural development biologist. They are both focused on projects related to enabling coexistence and community engagement for the conservation of small cats in Mexico and other countries of Latin America. Thank you both for joining us today. We're so excited for your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting us. We're very happy to start. Hi, all. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Mariam Weston. I am the coordinator of the Ocelot Working Group, and today my colleague Isabel Serrano MacGregor from Ecosur is also joining today, and we're going to talk about the important role of outreach tools for wildcat conservation in Mexico. So, Isabel, I leave it to you.
Hi, Mariam, thank you. Yeah, so I will talk a little bit about how this project begins, and begins in the Mexican Mayan jungle in Calakmul. In 2019, Mariam and me, we were working in the Calakmul Biosphere Reserve, and we noticed that two communities have a high number of reported jaguar livestock predations. So by this time, there were projects like working with ranchers, but were no projects working with children. And also in this area are like few projects working with children. So Mariam and me, we wonder us like what children think about this situation, about these interactions between jaguars and ranchers. We wanted to explore children's perceptions, knowledge, and so then we went to these two communities. We went to the elementary school. We talked with the principal and also with the parents to ask for permission to work with the kids. Yeah, how we work with the kids. We did first like activities, ice-breaking activities, and then we asked them 4 questions. What animals live in the jungle near where you live? Which animals of the jungle near you scare you? How does a jaguar look like? And what does the jaguar eat? So the kids answer with draws. Next, please. Yeah, we find this. The first question, what animals live in the jungle? They identify 59 animals. The first one was the snakes, butterflies, and jaguars. But also we notice that they draw non-native wildlife, for example, giraffe, bears, and wolves. The second question, animals that live in the jungle that scare me, they considered 41 animals. And the first was the snake, and also the jaguar was in that list. Then we asked, how does the jaguar look? They draw like jaguars with spots, without spots, smiling. The last question, what do jaguars eat? The first was the jaguar eats deer, but also they draw that jaguars eat sheep and cows. And also they draw that jaguars eat humans and meat. So when we saw these findings, these results, Mariam and me, we were talking like what we can do, no? So Mariam is talking about that. Yeah, Mariam.
Thank you. Sorry, I was muted. Yes, exactly. So we wanted to do something about it beyond just like publishing on a journal. And we both really thought about the idea of how to deliver these complex conservation messages into an easy way that kids could like. And we have the idea of creating our own Mexican Mayan jungle book. And the idea of this book is exactly to help us highlight the jaguar's ecological and cultural importance, but also showcase their threats, and most importantly, to give some solutions about how to create coexistence and how to foster local stewardship through the story. And that's how we created CAV. CAV is the name of this book. CAV means honey in Mayan, and it tells the story of this little jaguar's journey through the Mayan jungle and how he starts to meet a lot of characters that help him understand what it is to be a jaguar and the importance of being a jaguar, not only for himself, but for the whole jungle. And if you can see, the book has an amazing detail, which is that you can see in the covers the drawings of all the kids. And that's also something that we really wanted to highlight because it helps us incorporate the kids into the creation of the book. And also something important about this book is that all the drawings were a donation from two Mexican artists, Diana and Ingrid. And the text was created also by Celeste Soe, who is a Mexican author. And Isabel and I also helped to incorporate the science behind the storytelling. But it's a really nice story that we hope that kids could treasure, and we hope that it can be like that story for you, for when you go to bed and your parents tell you. And something very strategic that we're doing is that we're gonna give these books obviously for free in the communities that we work with, but we're gonna deliver these books through the primary schools that we work. And there is a scientific reason of this. It's that parents trust more the materials that you can provide through schools, and that gives or underpins the value of the information you're giving. But also we decided to do this because when we were working in these elementary schools, we realized that the school textbooks, the ones that you get for free, were featuring African wildlife instead of native Mexican wildlife. And we thought this was very interesting because Mexico is the fifth most biodiverse country in the world. And it's the third country that has more mammals in the world, and it even has more mammal species than the whole African continent. So we thought it's very important for kids to have their own Jungle Book and to have their own Simba and start knowing the wild neighbors that they live with. And thank you for your kind support today, because thanks to your donations today, you are helping us print more than 1,000 copies of the story that we will be delivering in Calakmul. And this is also possible thanks to the kind support of Animal Karma, which is a local NGO, and WWF Mexico, who also are helping to support this project. So just a little bit of background. In Calakmul, there are almost 3,000 kids, and we will be reaching almost a third of the population of the kids. We will be delivering these books in more than 10 communities, and we will be also giving 2 workshops in the 2 communities that helps us inspire to create this work. But probably by now you're just wondering, well, this is amazing, but why are we talking about jaguars when we should be talking about small cats? This whole thing was about small cats, right? But this is exactly how I felt in 2019. When we were starting working with jaguars, I realized that if things for outreach content are so poorly done for such a charismatic species like the jaguar, how are things for the other little guys that do not get that much attention, right? Which is just the case of the 4 small cat species that we have in Mexico, which is the margay, the bobcat, the jaguarundi, and the ocelot. And in the Mayan jungle, we only have 3 of them, which you can see in these pictures. And beyond that, it is just shocking to know that for the 33 species of small cats around the world, they all have to fight for 0.97% of the total budget of funds dedicated for cat conservation, because most of the funding goes to the jaguar, goes to the tiger, goes to the puma, to the lion, and all these 33 little guys have to fight for less than 1% of the funding. That's why from all the lessons learned that I got from working with jaguars, I decided to apply this knowledge now for small cats. And we were able to foster an amazing collaboration with Andy Malpica through the Ocelot Working Group. Andy is a Mexican illustrator who is giving for free her work, and she specializes in comics. And now we're creating a series of comics called The Big Stories of the Small Wildcats, which feature one small cat and also focus on one thread of the small cats. And comics are a great outreach tool because they help us digest these complex conservation messages into digestible images that vulnerable communities that probably do not know how to read or probably are still familiarizing with conservation engage more easily with our messages. And right now you can download this first volume for free in our website. You can put your own logo and use it, and it's in 3 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, and in English. And talking about coexistence, for delivering coexistence and fostering coexistence strategies, we need to be very clear in our messages. And I'm gonna tell you about the next volume that we're creating, which features one of the least known threats for small cats. And this is exactly in the Mayan jungle in Calakmul. Calakmul is very different to the rest of the Mayan Peninsula because it doesn't have super accessible water sources like in other parts. It basically depends on rainfall to have water sources for wildlife, which are called aguadas. And right now, due to climate change, we are experiencing longer periods of drought, which force animals to look for water everywhere because the aguadas completely dry out for longer periods of time. And in the Mayan jungle, one important economic activity is beekeeping. And beekeepers have some techniques to take care of their honey, and especially to avoid ants to eat the honey, they put water underneath the hives. But this water also works to give water to the bees themselves. And in these periods of drought, in desperation, literally animals look for water everywhere. So small animals like margais or ocelots sometimes approach bee farms to drink water from these sources, and sometimes they drink till the last drop. And this enables ants to come and eat the honey, which creates also like a economical loss for the beekeepers. But also there's the case where larger mammals like tapirs, which are very important for the Mayan jungle, look for water, and by accident they knock down the hives, and this also creates an impact. So now through the Ocelot Working Group, we are installing artificial water fountains in strategical spots to prevent animals to approach human settlements. And this is exactly what our colleagues Telma and Carlos are developing with this project in Calakmul. They are training beekeepers to install these water sources. They are assessing them to know exactly where to put them in a right spot to avoid animals approaching to their houses. And they're also training them to use the camera traps to monitor these water holes. And it's been very helpful because we are also seeing that animals are visiting less the farms, the bee farms. But we also want to foster a stewardship. We want to foster ownership of the project, because when we leave, we want the beekeepers to keep doing this because they see a value in conservation. So we are also taking workshops to these communities to teach the bee farmers what they can do with their products beyond just producing honey. They can do cosmetics, and we're also seeking to grow this project and also find a way to provide water for themselves in the long term. But it's very cool to see that small cats are learning to use these water sources. And here you can see an ocelot drinking water from this fountain. And we have also registers of margais and jaguars and other species like the Eira barbara de Taira using the water sources. So I guess I just want to close this talk by saying that it is important to foster ownership and to empower local communities, and kids play a fundamental role in this part. And having tools tailored to them, tailored to their language, tailored to their reality, it's very important because they help us they help us send this message and spread this message to their parents, to the rest of the community, and they are very good with spreading the word. So I guess that I want you to take out this message, which is we work with adults to change the present, but we work with kids to change the future. And lastly, I want to thank all the kids that help us and inspire us to create this work, and that allow us to work with them and to get inspired with them and co-design these solutions with them. But I also wanted to thank our amazing team of women that help us create all these tools. Andy, Celeste, Ingrid, and Diana, thank you very much. And we also want to thank our sponsors, the International Wildlife Coexistence Network, Animal Karma, WWF, the Small Wildcat Conservation Foundation, and the Ocelot Working Group, and all the Ocelot Working Group members working with us. And we also wanted to thank you guys for joining us today. And thank you also, Isabel, for helping us deliver this presentation. Okay. Pues ya.
A ver,
Thank you so much, Maria and Isabel. That was incredible. Your booklet initiative, sharing this information with children is so inspiring, and we are very excited to be a part of your journey. So thank you so very much for your participation in this. Again, if anybody is interested in contributing, there is a donation link within the chat. We have raised some funds towards the delivery of this, but we are around $300 short. So if you're interested in making a donation, feel free to click the link. And again, all the work that you're doing too with the ocelots and the beekeeping, that is just so amazing, and just another example of how you can implement non-lethal solutions for local communities to coexist with native wildlife and to be able to teach people these things. So thank you so very much for that. We did get a few questions. We're going to save them after all of our presentations, but if you have any other questions for our wonderful speakers, please put them in the Q&A area, the Q&A button, the chat section, and we will ask them at the end of our presentations. Next, we have a wonderful speaker for you today. Her name is Dr. Flavia Tirelli. She is the coordinator of the Geoffroy's Cat Working Group, and she's going to share insights into how her organization is helping the survival of the Geoffroy's cat, their wild population through coexistent efforts between local communities across South America. So I'm really excited for everyone to hear about this. This is actually the first time I've ever even heard of the Geoffroy's cat, so can't wait to hear more from you, Flavia.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me, and I hope you enjoy.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Flavia Tirelli, and I'm here to present to you about the Geoffroy's Cat Working Group. This working group is part of a huge network coordinated by Jim Sanderson. And this is just one of the working groups from this huge network all around the world that helps. The main goal is to protect small wild cats all around the world. Our working group is a network of conservationists, researchers, and enthusiasts. We aim to help the survival of Geoffroy's cat wild population and other sympatric small wild cats, also the natural habitats. And we have more than 40 members spread across the 6 countries where the species lives. And I'm coordinating this working group. So our flag species is the Geoffroy's cat. The Geoffroy's cat can be a small wild cat, spotted, and can be black, melanistic. and they live from the Bolivia to the southern tip of Chile and Argentina. And our strategy is spread the word about the species, about the small wild cats, to find problems, find the solutions, and do the actions. All of that monitored. So we have a global project that we made material, educational material, for example, memory games, board games, masks, and a lot of material, so kids can be more engaged and more related to all the small wild cats in Latin America. And also, we create materials for adults, like, for example, helping them to how to build a chicken coop to avoid conflicts. All of that is for free in our website. So this can help conservationists to have more time to work with community engagement, and then they have material, ready material. We also have another global project, which is a project that focuses in the roadkill initiative. To avoid the roadkill, we have the 6 countries from our working group, 11 projects from 6 countries working in this initiative, which is starting, but we are very happy and excited with this initiative. We also have the World Geoffroy's Cat Day, which is celebrating 28th January, and we celebrate in different countries, as you can see here, but also in social media. And in social media, we have also a lot of activity. So we can show our projects there, the vaccination campaigns in each independent project, where we'll be, so the people can know and can help also. We have this very interesting tool, which is the story maps. You can scan here, and then you can go to the story map here. You will see icons, so you can click in each icon, and in each icon we'll have a little bit about the project. Our projects are independent, so you can see a little bit about the leader of the project, the contact of them, the team, and about each project. And here I will show you some examples of our projects. So this is in Bolivia. Paola coordinated 2 projects there, one more connected to community engagement and another to focus more in the animals that were individuals from, for example, illegal traffic, and they try to reintroduce them in the wild. So Chimena, also in Bolivia, is working with a sustainable economy, helping local community to increase them. And also she did a partnership with a winery, very interesting. In Argentina, Norberto and Julian are working with community engagement and local government too, and also with roadkills in this area of Argentina. Lucila, in another area of Argentina, is helping to create protected areas in private areas. She's also working with kids, doing workshops and talk about the species. In Argentina too, but in Mendoza, in another area, Soledad is doing an amazing job with feral cats in a protected area. So they capture these domestic cats, and they do the sterilization, vaccination, and do a responsible adoptions. In Patagonia, in Argentina, Mauro Lucherini is focused also in environmental education, and also in talking meetings with the small ranch owners, so they can talk about the conflicts, to how to avoid them. And in Chile, Melanie and Patricia are doing an amazing job with the Congara project, where they work with chicken coops, with kids, with vaccination and roadkills. Santiago also is working with chicken coops, but in Uruguay, and he's working also with roadkills. In Brazil, I'm coordinating a project via Pro Carnívoros, an NGO, where we work with sustainable alternatives, also connect to Native Americans, with rescue centers, with environmental education, and also supporting local projects. One of our local projects is coordinated by Jamie. Jamie works in Repras and Gatos do Mato, and they are trying to they collect animals that are injured, and they put them in hospital, and they do the rehabilitation and release them. They work with education too. And Felipe and Marina are working. They have this beautiful project, which is the Felinos do Pampa, where they work with chicken coops. Here you can see the cat taking the chicken, and then Felipe arrange and do repairs in the chicken coops. So to avoid conflicts, they also do the roadkill project, monitoring, vaccination, and we also help to the promotion of the species. So with the promotion of small wildcat species. So with wine, in local community events, in television. So this it's a little bit about what we are doing, but we are doing a lot more. If you want to see a little bit more, you can scan here and go to our Instagram. We also have our website. The link is there. And thank you.
Thank you so very much, Flavia. That was very fascinating. We had a lot of questions come in as well. We'll save those for the end of the presentation, but we're really excited, and thank you for sharing all of your information and your work with the Geoffroy's cat. You certainly have your hands full, but you guys are doing wonderful things, so thank you for all of your efforts.
Thank you.
And our final speaker today is José Daniel Ramírez-Fernández of the Costa Rica Wildlife Foundation. And he's going to be showing us how communities are coexisting with the smallest wildcat in Mesoamerica, the oncilla or the oncilla.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you very much for all of you of being here. So today I'm gonna talk to you about our project, and this talk I name it a threatened endemic small wildcat seeking coexistence with the Central American oncilla in highland communities of Costa Rica. So our program belongs to the Costa Rica Wildlife Foundation, which has a very clear mission of conservation in the country. So the mission of our program is to ensure the prevalence of the small wildcats and its habitat through interdisciplinary and stable initiatives that promote coexistence with communities and improve decision-making by environmental authorities. This is our main working area. This is the cloud forest of the Talamanca mountain range, which is the biggest, the highest elevations of the country. And it's dominated by mainly two kinds of habitats, which are the oak forest and the paramo habitat in the highest part. And this is precisely the main habitat of the oncilla. The oncilla has several common names, but it responds only to one scientific name, which is Leopardus tigrinus, and the subspecies is oncilla. This is the smallest, rarest, and most threatened small wildcat we have in the region, not just in Costa Rica, but in the whole Mesoamerican region. And the size of the oncilla is similar to a house cat. It weighs no more than 3.5 kilos. Normally, you can find spotted individuals like the one you can see in the left, but in some frequency, you can also find completely dark individuals like the one you see in the right. The oncilla is classified as endangered by Costa Rican local authorities, and it is classified as vulnerable by the IUCN because it faces many threats in the whole distribution. the way we approach to the communities with the Oncilla project first was with this environmental education workshop that we name Knowing the Oncilla. We just want to introduce the species to the people from the communities close to its habitat. We want to know if the people know something about this species, if they know it, if they can identify it from other small wildcats, if they know what they eat, where they sleep, where you can find them, etc. And here we find out that the people knows very little, if not nothing, from the Oncilla. We believe that the conservation is a social science. A long time ago, conservation was used to be, or it was believed to be, something more of the biological sciences. But now we know that if you don't work with people, you will not achieve conservation success. That's why I want to introduce my colleague and a very important part of the Oncilla conservation team, which is Fabián Peñaranda. Fabián is an anthropologist and he is a social scientist. So that's why he brings so much importance into the project.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here in this webinar, and I'm happy to share with you this initiative of Coexistence, that is community-based conservation. Working for species and ecosystem has been part of the government's agendas and NGOs for years, but new approaches like Coexistence have shown us that local narratives and experiences are the protagonists of these territories and landscapes that we as a researcher want to intervene with. So instead of having this vertical approach where the conservation projects close areas and they don't let people to get involved with the solutions and proposals of new projects, coexistence means listening, means learning and creating projects through participation. But to achieve that, we need to understand the historic processes of the people so that the conservation initiatives look promising for the way of living in these communities. And we can see this example in Oncilla Conservation Program and in the community of Herradura de Rivas, that is one of the communities that we have worked in the last 2 years. We have supported their community projects like the Eagles, that is their basketball team, to designing a new logo and talking about how the ecosystem is very important for also their identities as young people and to protect the forest. And basketball is a way of showing their territories to the other parts of the country and their animals. But also, we have also construct social diagnosis through the last year, and that makes us create the first Coexistence Festival. That it was the way of sharing our science approach to a community that doesn't have like the knowledge of their animals in the way that the conservation of the Oncilla we have worked with. And also the last one is these made us have a think about we have become aware of the real scope of the program together with the needs and the potential of the community for the conservation of small cats and their ecosystems. From this, the project of the chicken coops was born, which aims to address a problem with the felines in several territories of this part of Rivas, but also it looks to enhance the cultural identity and the food sovereignty of the families in the communities. So we see that not only through public policy and new laws and everything, we can protect the wildcats. We need to have everyone on board to see that the ecology of the territory is balanced to the families with the NGOs that are involved and also with the animals. So everything is part of a new way of seeing conservation that is coexistence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fabián. And yeah, as Fabián says, to achieve coexistence, you have to hear what the people need, what the people want, because if people doesn't get what they want and they are not living healthy and happy, they will not take care on protecting wildlife. So sometimes you have to focus on people. First, you have to focus on people. What are their needs? What are they lacking in their community? And then if you lend a hand to the people from the communities, the people would get into your conservation programs, because once they're happy, they will, and once they are happy and they know what they have in their surroundings, they will take care on protecting it. So this is all our sponsors in the project and many collaborators that we have. And this is the information of our social medias if you want to follow, if you want to know more about the project. Also, if you want to make some donation to help us with our community work in the program, here's the information as well. Thank you very much for all your time.
Thank you so very much, Jose and Fabian. We really appreciate it. Agreed, it's really understanding. I think we can all say, from all the projects today, from each of our speakers, that working with the community and finding out how they can be involved and hearing what their problems and what their needs are is the first step to working out, proactive solutions for being able to coexist with these animals. Education is so important, and I want to thank you both and everyone, all of our speakers, for all the work that you do and your dedication to the livelihood of these animals. You're heroes to them and they can't speak for themselves, and you're doing whatever you can on the ground to help with your local communities, and that's amazing. So we're very grateful for your participation and for sharing your experiences with the wildlife that you guys protect, and we're very grateful for that. So thank you so much. If anyone has any additional questions, we're going to get ready to start asking some Q&As. Please feel free to drop them in the Q&A chat, and I will start administering them. The first question we have, this is for Mariam and Isabel. And I know the answer to this, but I'd love to hear it from you. Did the children help illustrate the Jaguar booklets? That would be a wonderful engagement and give them a real connection to the animals in this project. Great job. Thank you, from Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for watching and joining us today. Yes, actually, the illustrations in the booklet are made by professional illustrators whom donated the work, but the final cover that you saw in the presentation will include the drawings of the kids. And we thought it would be very nice for them when we come and give them these to see their own drawings reflected in the cover. And that's how we're incorporating them in the booklet. So we have that idea and we're incorporating it. I am outside Mexico at the moment, so I couldn't bring the whole book, the completed version with me, but the final one that you will be able to see in our social media has the drawings of the kids. So yes, they are there.
Thank you. Another question we have, this is for Flavia. Jane would like to hear a little bit more about the roadkill project and that you're working on with the community.
And well, first, thank you all for listening us and to be aware of what we are doing. It's amazing. Well, about the roadkill project. Is just starting. It's something that we are very excited because we are working, we already have 11 projects connected to this initiative. And the idea is, in the beginning, is we will do like a standard road sign. So we can try to use in the 6 countries where we are working. So with the our flag species, which is Geoffroy's cat, but also with other species, we'll try to engage people to pay attention and to go slow in the roads. So this is our first idea. But in the next, we will try to go, of course, locally in each local government, talk with each local government to try to make more effort on that. For example, try to create fences, underpassings, and things, and monitor fauna. We are doing in some local areas those kind of things that are more efficient. But in the beginning, now we are spreading the word and try to show the signs so people can be aware of what is happening. And after we will go to the next steps. We hope this help one of the main threats of small wildcats all around. I think it's all around the world. I don't know, but at least in Latin America, we know that it's in the neotropics. It's a very bad and a big threat. So we need to focus on that. The biggest threat we have for small wildcats in general, it is habitat loss, which is very difficult to focus. But in a lot of areas, the second one are the roadkills. So we need to focus on that. We need to do something bigger. And my idea is to invite Mariam and Jose and the other working group leaders to do these continental, like trying to go bigger and bigger to help our small wildcats to not be collided with cars in the roads.
Wonderful. Yes, and I'm sure they would love to be able to join you on that. What I noticed is that everybody on this call, all these speakers, they share such a passion and commonality for protection of wildlife. And, you guys are just so excited to work together and collaboratively and educate each other. And you're just coming in as a team, even though you're working on different types of cats and different geographies. That's so beautiful to see. So thank you so much. I'm really excited that you have these connections. And we'd love to continue to connect with you more. And I'm sure that all the other participants would, the other speakers would as well. So that's wonderful to hear. Just a quick update before we go more of the Q&A. I wanted to give a big thank you to our donors and our attendees. We did have a couple donations come through to help support the booklet delivery. So thank you so very much for that. We're about $100 short of our goal. So we're very, very close. And we're just so appreciative of your generosity and your dedication to coexisting with wildlife. So thank you so very much from all of us at IWCN. Next question we have here, Fabian and Jose, I think you guys could answer this. Have you experienced any negative feedback from community leaders or families who have livestock about any of your projects that you've put forth? And this is from Pamela.
Thank you very much for the question. And yeah, actually, it has been like pretty interesting in the community. We are living the conflict of chicken predation, because most of the people, I mean, here in Costa Rica, the environmental laws are very reinforced. So most of the people know that if you kill like some wildlife, you will be like in loss or legal problems. So many people, they just get rid of chickens when they start to getting like trouble with whatever kind of animal that is predating on the chickens. They just get rid of the chickens, which is something that it doesn't seem like fair for us, because people live like, they are like families with low incomes. So it's kind of fair that they have the right to produce their own products to live healthy and yeah. So we have one case of a lady that many years ago she killed an oncilla, because the oncilla get into her chicken coop and it killed like 20 chickens and it only like 1 or 2. So of course this is something that the people doesn't like, because it's like having someone getting into your bank account and taking money each week. because each chicken traduces into money for the family. So yeah, we have some negative experiences that the people has had with the small white cat, but most of the people, they just want to live like without having problems, without damaging the wildlife. So most of the people, they just get rid of the chicken. So we just try to help them so they can have their own products and they can reduce their economic expenses as well.
Looks like Fabian, do you have something to add to that as well?
Yeah, I would like to add that I think in the years that we have worked with the community of Herradura, we haven't had like a tension between the program and the leaders of the community. The tensions are between the community and the local government institution of environmental things, that is the MINAE. People are really angry about how MINAE is work with the tensions between livestock, chicken coops, and wild animals. They don't see that is an answer for their problems. So they are like in a limbo between staying with the government or working with NGOs, and they don't really know what to do. And what is happening is what Jose told us, that people are getting tired of doing their activities that help them with their economy, and they are losing hope in the government environmental agenda. So that's the tension that we have found in these years. Thank you.
Thank you. And Flavia, would you like to add to that as well?
Just a situation here where I work locally in southern Brazil. And what happens here, it's like when you are not working in a community, there are some cases that, for example, last month, I heard that a farmer killed 2 wild cats, probably jaguarundis, Mariam, yeah, because they called them the wild red cats, and I never heard this name. So we went there and we talked with this guy, and we told that he didn't know about this. He was like, no, I will catch the cat, I will catch one more. And I was like, this person wasn't aware what he was doing. So like not for real, you know, like and then we talked with him, we told him, we will, if you need to stop to do that. In Brazil it's illegal, first of all, and second, it's like it's not cool to do that. It's not, you know, have to explain. And then we told him, if you don't do that, if you are our partner on that, we will repair your chicken coop and we give you the chickens that die in that moment, and please don't do that, and we can be partners. And then he realized. But the other thing is that when we are working in communities already, this never happened. Like when a cat tried to catch the chicken, they call us. There is a cat here and they are trying to do something, please help us. And then we go there, and so a cat never was killed by persons in the communities we are working. So we can see the efficiency of the work when you see this difference. So now we have to start to work on that part of in that area where that bad thing happens. So it's just an example.
Thank you for sharing that. And thank you, you know, as Pamela shared in the chat, thank you so much for having the conversation and your patience and taking the time to educate them. And also, you know, being so proactive to be able to help supplement this individual's loss. That is very heroic and noble of your organization. So thank you so much for having those conversations. and trying, you know, to negotiate in any way possible for the fate of these animals. So thank you so much for that. And it looks like we have time for one more question. Mariam and Isabel, this is a question for you on the ocelots. Saul is curious, did the number of ocelot sightings increase in the, am I pronouncing this right? Apocosilla communities as a consequence of the construction of the Mayan train?
Oh my God, such a good question. I feel like we will need another hour to talk about this. I'm gonna give my perspective and then Chave can also give hers, because she actually is on the ground in Calakmul constantly, so she will give you a refresh experience of that. But I think it's very important to understand that one of the biggest threats in the Mayan jungle is development. And when I mean development is like unplanned, unassessored, unregulated development. And the train in itself represents a threat, but the problem that the train brings with it is the threat of a huge urban development. And this creates land use change, and this creates encroachment, and this obviously increases the chances of human-wildlife interactions. That's it. Like, it is affecting at the moment in some other regions. We do not have enough evidence to say at this stage that it is increasing the interactions right now, because the train, it's still at the early stages. But I think it's certainly going to have a huge impact. And just for you to have an idea, at the beginning of my presentation, I was talking about aguadas, which are like these water sources, water holes, natural water holes that are being endangered by climate change by itself. But now they are constructing a hotel in the middle of the reserve of Calakmul to supply, like to provide a luxurious stay for tourists that are going to use the Tren Maya. And the whole thing about this hotel, apart that it's completely illegal, is that they are constructing it very near one of the most important aguadas, which is called Aguada Bonfil, for ocelots. So, and there's like published papers about this. So the whole project is created out of scientific support, out of planning, out of legality. And it's affecting communities, because now communities are also protesting about, well, you're bringing tourists to a hotel that it's probably regulated by a foreigner enterprise. And what about us, like the locals that already have our local hotels, right? So that also creates conflict for the communities, which might be a push to sell their lands or abandon their normal activities, which could vulnerate the Mayan jungle more than it is already. So I do not have enough evidence to tell you right now it is impacting, but I can assure you it will impact. And I'm gonna stop because, as I said, I can talk about this for hours. But I don't know if Isabel wants to add something else.
Yes, like Mariam said, Isabel is sad news that we will have a big hotel in the middle of the reserve, and with many rooms, around 120, 40 rooms. That is, it's crazy really, because in this part of the reserve, there is no water, enough water. So imagine how this hotel is going to work, no, with many people. So, but yeah, what I want to say also is that people, ranchers in Calakmul, also they have tolerance. That is a hope, because the last month I was doing some interviews for my PhD, and yes, they say like, okay, we have like some predation for big cats and the small cats, but what they want is to record what they want is to learn how to do, for example, the report, Mariam, for the there is if you have predation, they can pay you the cows or the sheep that you lose, but they don't know how to do sometimes report. So
I think we may have lost you for a second there, Isabel, with your connection.
okay. Okay,
Oh,
can you hear me?
You're back.
Yeah. So I was saying that, yeah, like ranchers in Calakmul, like if they have like a lot of chickens and they lose like one chicken or two chickens, like I mean, like they have tolerance for that. The problem is when a small cat and do predation of many chickens, they just start like worrying, like they want to do a solution. So, but they are really open to work with NGOs and with people that wants to work with them. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your insights, and thank you to our attendees for your incredible questions and your passion for joining us and for this subject. We really appreciate it. From all of us at IWCN, we want to personally thank the speakers and all of you, our attendees. Your generosity and your passion for wildlife is what keeps organizations and nonprofits going. So thank you for all of your support. Again, with IWCN, this is one in a series of forums where we help to educate people on coexistence. And we truly believe that it does take all of us to advance this vision of coexistence. So we do hope, that you learn more about each of these fantastic organizations, their efforts on the ground. We will be sending you a recording of all the information as well as links to their web pages so you can learn more about these their incredible efforts on the ground with different unique small cats. And, we hope that, if you can make a contribution to the booklet program that would, it's helping teach school children or future leaders the importance of wild cats, and native species. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me or to Allison or to Josh directly. And you can visit us at our website to learn more about some of the other projects we have underway at www.wildlifecoexistence.org. So thank you so much again to our amazing speakers for joining us tonight. We truly appreciate everything that you do. And thank you for all of our attendees. We couldn't be able to do this without you and your love for wildlife. So thank you so much all.
Thank you very much.